protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Huge deal for the Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. Let's get through the money particulars first, because this is a massive deal, as you mentioned. The new highest paid quarterback in the NFL alongside Joe Burrow. 5 years, $275 million. That is the deal that the Jaguars and their former number one overall pick, Trevor Lawrence, agreed to.
Trevor looks. Moves to his left, still looking. Now he's going to run it to the 5, to the pylon. He dives. Touchdown. Trevor Lawrence goes for the pylon, and Jacksonville is in the end zone.
Trevor Lawrence has done everything he can to prove himself, not only being worth the number one overall selection, but being the franchise quarterback for the Jaguars. His payday was coming.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, good morning, everybody. Jaguars Today off and rolling. A happy Garrett Cole debut day to those who celebrate, Tony. I don't think you do.
No.
You should celebrate that the Orioles are getting him and not the Braves this weekend.
Would
what
be
you
true.
Should celebrate. I'm celebrating non-broken bones in Aaron Judge's hand today. That's what I'm celebrating.
Yeah, wouldn't hurt my feelings if he needed 4 or 5 days.
Hey, shut your mouth.
You know?
Okay? Shut your damn mouth. He already told Aaron Boone he wants to play today.
Yeah, with where the Braves are at, I want to win one.
Where are you
in the
at,
series.
by the way?
We're still very much in control of the wild card picture in the NL East, but we're 8 games behind the Phillies there in the division, and it's been an up and down 2-3 weeks for the Braves. I don't feel great about it. I'd love to get one from the Yanks this weekend.
I bet you would. Yeah. I'll take 2 out of 3. That's fine. Pockets, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, sir.
1010XL's fastest producer.
You dang right, son.
Bring it on. Bring it on. Who wants some? I'm your backer, buddy. I got you here.
I mean, anybody want it? Just let me know.
A 40-yard dash guy, or would you be 100?
I'm a 100 guy.
Oh, okay.
I'm not quick.
A little build-up speed?
Yeah, I got to build up.
Okay. 100. So, what's the compromise? Is there a compromise distance there?
I can go 70.
70.
If somebody want to do 40 and I can do 100, I go 60, 70.
You'd split it.
Yeah.
Split it right down the middle.
Yeah.
All right. There you go. Come challenge Pockets. Doom is locked in to be our celebrity chef.
Nice.
Man.
We got the burgers.
Bro, don't take that day off is all I'm going to say, Dylan.
All right.
I know Tony won't be here.
I'll be here.
Day, July 2nd. You'll be, trust me, you're going to want to be here. Doom and I had a little conversation yesterday. He was laying it all out, what the plan of attack is. I'm like, bro, I just want a tasty burger. That's all I want. But trust me, it will represent well. We don't always have a representative in these. There are a lot of holiday cook-offs.
Yeah.
And I like having someone represent us.
Yes.
I don't like to have to cook, right? I'm capable of it, technically. I could survive if all I had was a grill, but I'm not grill master Johnny or whatever.
What's your go-to?
On the grill?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say I have a go-to.
Oh, so you don't really do it?
I mean, I'll grill dogs and burgers. That's what I do. I'm not the people have the big setup and they've got this over here and they got the little pot of corn.
Got the smoker.
Or whatever. They got the smoker and we used to have this guy lived in our apartment complex in St. Augustine.
Mm-hmm.
Heather and I had this. He had this Pockets. We paid, oh my gosh, for rent. It was absurd. I think when it went up, it was $250 a month and included water. It was nothing, dirt cheap.
Yeah.
But there were 15 apartments in this little building, and it was right. If you remember WFOY, the 1240, the AM radio station for folks who lived in St. Augustine, was right there, and it was between that and the Fountain of Youth. You could literally walk across the lawn and walk into the Fountain of Youth, and there would be nobody to stop you, kind of situation, right? But we had this guy who set up a smoker on his front porch and just blast us out all day, and we call him Smoker Johnny. I really didn't care that much, but the landlady hated him, and there really wasn't a whole lot she could do about it. You're
right.
You're allowed to grill out, man.
He's grilling on his own.
God-given American
right.
right.
That kind of thing. I know my dad was very disappointed. The condo I'm living in, they don't allow grills.
What?
Right. Like, it's just part of the HOA. They just
Commie
don't allow
condos.
grills. And they don't have, like, the community grill spots either. Like, there's just none of it in there. Nothing in the neighborhood, because my dad wanted to get a grill for me, right? When I was moving over there, he's like, hey, do you need a grill? I'm like, I would love a grill. I can't use a grill.
Like, I don't know if I have room to store it.
Right.
But
Like, if I'm going to do the grill thing, I have to go to a friend's house or to one of those community places that have it, or my parents, like that kind of thing. I don't ever get to grill out.
Well, on July 2nd, we're doing the big confab, right? The get-together, the kind of like July 4th celebration with, we like to be competitive. So we're responsible for finding a burger chef, and that is Duval Doom, who's going to be that guy.
Yep.
And I said, Doom, we'll have a grill available, or if you want to pre-cook something, we got to – and he just started laughing. Like, at that point, like, you kidding me? I think Doom is going to come out with the setup. You ever watch Supermarket Sweep? You know what I'm telling
Yeah.
you? Where they're basically in a parking lot, but they have every cooking utensil and feature known to mankind.
Yeah.
I think that's what Doom is planning on rolling in with.
There we go.
Just to cook us a few burgers. So I'm excited about it. So that's coming up a little bit later on. The 1010XL newsletter debuts in 1 minute.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? In 1 minute. You better get a hold of that at 1010XL on Twitter or X is where you'll find a link. All you have to do is link up, subscribe. It's free. You just get news, inside info, news on remotes, trivia, contest, ticket giveaways. No purchase necessary. Like, tickets to the Jags home opener are going to be given away through this newsletter at some point in time. So there's some pretty good stuff out there for you. We're going off at 11 today, only on the AM, though, right? Because we got Florida and Kentucky in baseball. So that's going to come on the AM dial. So if you're listening on the 1010 app, you always have the 92.5 app available to you as well. So we'll be, as we are, on both streams up until 11 o'clock, then FM only for the second hour of the show today. All right, today's question of the day presented by us here, presented by Chet and Sandy Real Estate. Really, as Doom said, that's the saddest story he's ever heard about a living situation. Can't have a grill. My man is locked in, I'm telling you. Like, this is going to be fantastic. So today we are asking you, because I saw a piece over at, I guess it was Pro Football Network on 5 potential breakout players for the Jaguars, but we decided to limit it to the defense today. And anybody's eligible. Like, Josh Allen clearly has broken out, right? We can agree. But if you think Josh Allen's going to drop a league record sack total out there this year, all right, but it's got to be something that really takes his performance to a height unseen before.
If you want to pick Josh Allen to answer today, you're basically saying, I think he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year.
Defensive Player of the Year, maybe the greatest defensive season we've ever seen, right? I mean, and that's fine if that's who you really think.
Yep.
A lot of other candidates out there. Like, you could say, hey, did Trayvon Walker break out? I think he did. When you have double-digit sacks in your second year, to some degree, you've broken out. I think Trayvon is a perfectly acceptable answer today, though. Maybe you think Trayvon's going to take it to a new height and have 15 sacks this year and be more of a force in the run game as well. So who will be the Jags breakout player on defense in 2024? And every time I do that, we do this once or twice a year.
Yeah.
Offense, defense. Always use a graphic from the old breakout video game, right? And I went back today and I watched an Atari commercial from, I guess, the early to mid 80s. And it was Pete Rose and Don Knotts on it, right? And Pete Rose was like talking about, their baseball game. And the baseball game, just the little graphic they showed looked so bad. It looked horrible.
I had that game.
And it looked like you grabbed the ball and you just ran. Hopefully you got to first base before the other guy. Like, it didn't even look like he could throw the ball. But it was very strange. I didn't play it, so you would know better than I.
Yeah.
And Don Knotts was in prison in this commercial, and he was doing it for breakout, obviously. So back in the day, it always makes me reminisce about old video games whenever we throw this in there. So my two go-tos in terms of games I loved that I don't even think I've ever heard anyone ever bring up to me before Crystal Castles, which was a lot of fun. They actually had an Atari version of that back in the day. And Ladybug, which was like Pac-Man, but some of the walls were like turnstiles. So the ghosts were chasing. You can kind of like go through the wall and it turns and you could trap them. It was an awesome game. I only saw one place that ever had that game way back in the day and loved it back in the 80s. But, hey, I'm an old guy. What can I say? All right, today we'll hear a little bit from Andre Sisco and Fred Taylor in terms of reaction as we're getting throughout the week on the Trevor Lawrence deal. And we'll talk breakout players. Andre Sisco among those potential candidates. John Oehser is going to join us here coming up in hour number 2, and we are ready to roll. So if you want to be a part of the conversation today, 641-1010 on the All-Pro Roofing phone lines or on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. You can hit us up in the YouTube virtual studio chat there as well, or on X at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, and at 1010XL Denmark.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws, baby.
All right, no law. 70-yard dash on a White Claw or two. Pockets is your man. All right, and I'm telling you, fastest producer in the building. ET don't want that smoke. I know he's listening. We love you, E. Happy, speedy recovery. Let's put it that. I don't know if it's a happy recovery. I was shocked ET was here on Monday.
Yeah.
Right? Like, bro, you tear your Achilles, I'm guessing you got to be on some decent pain medication, right? That's got to be painful, I got to imagine, right? And here I am, Tone, like, have kidney stone removed like a week prior, and I'm like moving around like I'm 95 years old. And ET's in here on Monday in a boot and toughing it out. And I haven't seen him the last couple days, but maybe things have caught up to him. But speedy recovery to our man, Emmanuel Thalorand, and we're ready to go. Let's talk breakout players on defense for the Jags offseason in general. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark here with you. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on 1010XL. A week in 180 weight loss.
From the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
Riding home with a Jaguars play-by-play voice and the Jags beat reporter.
I don't think I want to go.
What do you mean you don't want to go?
Frank Frangie and Hayes Carline are on the Frangie Show.
Prepped, pumped, ready to rock?
Afternoons on 1010XL.
And while you're at it, fill it up with gas, okay?
What makes a Honda certified pre-owned vehicle so special? 182-point inspection, 24/7 roadside assistance, first-year free oil changes, and a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty for carefree driving backed by American Honda. Visit your local Honda dealer today.
Enjoy the thrill of the grill at John Smith Subs, with specialty subs like the Steak Bomb, the Gator, plus a full lineup of cold and hot deli subs, including the best Cuban and Duval. Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs on Hodges and JTB.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
Looking for a great place to enjoy some craft creations and soak up some scenery? Fernandina's Mocama Beer Company is a must-see and must-try. Nassau County knows it. Visitors need to find out about it. Mocama means near the big water where the sun is born. And if you visit their tap room in Fernandina Beach, you'll see how they've mastered equal parts precision and art in creating great flavors from IPAs to Pilsners, lagers, and sours, plus plenty more. Mocama.com, Mocama Beer Company. Start an adventure and find them in Fernandina.
Sports fans, JJ LaSalva here. When I need to send my bride flowers or a plant for birthdays or anniversaries, I always go with Kuhn Flowers. After all, they've been the leading florist in these parts for over 75 years. You can always rely on Kuhn Flowers.
When they were little, the other girls played with dolls.
Aww.
They played with footballs.
You're them?
Yes, it's us.
Helmets and heels.
From the First Coast Lighting Studios at 1010XL.
Weekdays noon to 2.
Some girls have all the fun.
Find your why in your next career move at the First Coast YMCA. Everyone can get involved and make a difference in your community at the Y. And if you'd like to turn your passion into a fulfilling career, the Y is an equal opportunity employer and is now hiring youth program leaders, lifeguards, swim instructors, and more. Plus, Y staff enjoy benefits including free YMCA membership and free childcare while you work. Find your passion, find your why in a career at fcymca.org.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open-air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to bring your friends out and enjoy our spectacular golf course, which is carved out of some of the highest elevations in North Florida. Hidden Hills Golf Club, unlike any other. Check us out, hiddenhillsgc.com.
This is Hayes Carlion for Skylife Elite. Have you ever thought about aircraft ownership as another potential revenue stream and as a tool for tax savings? Put your tax money to work for you while enjoying the benefits of private personal travel. Skylife Elite has over a decade of experience in business aviation and can guide you through the process with their expert staff. Call my friends over at Skylife Elite at 490-9332 or find them at flyskylife.com to get the rundown on everything owning an airplane can do for you.
Your Jaguars game day, your way. Whether you want to see a division rival like the Titans, an NFC North opponent like the Packers, or a mix, deciding on your favorite matchups has never been easier with Bundle at the Bank.
Touchdown, Travis Etienne!
Get tickets to 3 or more games starting at just $58 per game. It's as easy as pick, pay, and play. But seats are selling fast, so visit jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Our returning champion, a basketball court sweat mopper from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Lewis Cramp.
Great to be back, Merv.
There's only one category left on the board, Lewis. People you can trust to repair your air conditioner. Your 10 seconds starts now.
Well, I'm pretty handy with tools around. Right, so my Uncle Steve used to fix transmissions, so maybe he could... Okay, sorry. I guess just call the guys at Bueller?
That's right, Lewis. The highly trained technicians at Bueller Air and Plumbing have the tools and the experience to service any make and model of home air conditioner to make sure that you are cool.
You sure I can't just have a quick...
Yeah, we're done for today.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. An important message about your timeshare from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. Contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about timeshare cancellation.
Call 800-780-5959. 800-780-5959. 1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
I hope so too, man. I mean, he's always been a generous guy, but I hope it takes a step forward now. I'm really happy for him, though, and congratulations to him.
Andre Cisco thinks Trevor Lawrence should buy dinner. Why not, man? I think Trevor Lawrence probably be very happy to buy Andre Cisco and the whole team as many dinners as they like.
Yeah, I remember when Mahomes got his deal done with Kansas City.
Yeah?
I said what he ought to agree to do is buy the first round for the whole stadium for the first home game.
Yeah.
Right? Like, figure out how to do – I don't know how you would even figure out the semantics of getting that kind of thing done where everyone gets one. I guess you just –
like one voucher for –
like you tape the voucher to every seat in the stadium.
Something like that.
You know,
I don't
something
know.
like that. Like, I don't know how else you would do it, although whoever's going in might be grabbing some vouchers.
Right.
You know, that kind of thing.
Sounds
would
like
be
us
going
on Super Bowl Sunday when
Yeah.
we go to the game, right? Like half the media doesn't show up, and we're like, oh, I'll take that souvenir program and that souvenir program and that
certainly
souvenir.
Trevor Lawrence can afford to buy dinner for all his teammates the whole year if he wants to.
He bought his O-line golf carts, man. He can buy a lot of stuff.
Like he can do that kind of thing, but
$275 still goes around, right? I mean, you're not in the poorhouse yet.
Yeah, I don't know how you can give that back to the fans. I thought the first round is on, Mahomes was a pretty good idea, but again, I don't know how the logistics of that would work. Although all the ticketing is now digital, right? Could you give everyone one digital free drink? I bet you could figure something out.
Obviously with restrictions on being, legally
able to get a drink,
purchase a drink, right? But I think that is possible. All right, I have reset my athletic password from The Athletic, Tony, because I can never remember a damn password, man.
Right.
I'm just so bad with remembering passwords. But somebody sent me a link to, is Trevor Lawrence worth it? 4 improvements that can justify the Jaguar quarterback's massive deal. So we'll take a look through that and see how that, sits with us with what the improvements that they suggest and whether they're achievable. But I'll take a peek at that as we go along today and try to fit that in. Somebody said that they played Ladybug, which I'm telling you, classic console machine, and they played it at the Skatin' Space in Orange Park. Okay? Don't know anything about the Skatin' Space. We had Dayton Skate in DeLand, Florida. Don't know if it's still there for all I know. Probably not, but up by the truck route. But we did not have Ladybug there. But, Ladybug, man, it was a jammer. I could run through a roll of quarters back in the day like nobody's business. More than once, my irate father came storming into. We had a video game room in DeLand, and it was like the first of its kind. This was like it was populated with like Space Invaders, Pac-Man. I mean, the early generation console machines, and there may be like a dozen of them in there, and probably some pinball machines as well. And I'll never remember or forget, I should say, because it was like almost like a bar. It was so dark and dingy in there, and somebody opened the door, and it was like, stop the light, and the light would be framing my dad with his Irish temper. Didn't I tell you not to waste your money? And yeah, you did, Pop. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. So that was a flashback to my childhood right there. All right.
It was a time when the country had a problem with pinball.
I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
Like it was more that it was just a waste of money, than anything, and so be it. Like it's my meager allowance. Let me burn through it the way I see fit.
Right. I'm getting this or a chocolate bar. I can figure out which one I want.
Cards,
yeah, like
right?
those are the things I want to do. Today it's the video game.
Yeah. And I get it. Yes, they are. They were. I mean, they're really quite addictive. Like the flashing lights and the whole
for
thing
sure
that went with it, man. I could have spent my entire youth in that little video game room back in the day. All right, let's hear a couple of thoughts here from Andre Cisco. We just heard him coming out of the break. Just talked about his reaction to the Jags front office locking up some of their young talent.
It's a lot of forward thinking going on in the front office, and I think they're planning for winning in the future. So that's something that I want to be a part of, and something I'm happy to be a part of this year.
This was Cisco. He was on Sirius XM. Was it yesterday or the day before? I know we got
earlier
the audio
this week. Yeah,
it was at some point this week. He was on there, and will he be a part of that wave at some point, Tone?
Yeah, he could be the next one. That's part of that wave. We just don't know.
Let me ask you this: give me 3 organizations, no matter what their current records are or whatever. Give me 3 organizations in the NFL that you think are generally just well run.
Kansas City.
Okay.
Green Bay.
Okay.
And San Francisco.
Okay. Would you have to go very far to put Pittsburgh on the list?
No.
Right? I mean, consistently competitive, at least, right?
Yeah.
Do a good job identifying young talent, replacing some guys, letting some guys walk. At times they've gotten lucky with that kind of circumstance. But I was reading a piece just a couple of days ago. They are firm believers, much like Trent Baalke's philosophy, they will not negotiate a contract during the season. And people look at Pittsburgh as one of the paragon organizations out there that they do things right. They put themselves in a position to at least be competitive year after year after year after year. And because the question was, well, what happens if Russell Wilson takes off, right, in a good way, or maybe Justin Fields comes in because Wilson flops, and you want to get ahead of the market and you want to get ahead of like having a wide open bidding war. And they're like, no, This is our philosophy. We're going to stick to it. Maybe there will be exceptions made, but I just thought it was interesting because, here, hey, Trent Baalke has got to get away from this not being willing to negotiate during the season. And Pittsburgh's reason for doing it is simple. Football season's time to focus on the football. And even though I'm not necessarily sitting down with Russell Wilson, he is having to give some of his attention to his agents and the process of what's going on. He has to be involved in all that stuff. Anyway, I just thought, one organization who historically has put their team in a position to compete almost yearly versus another that is anything but in the Jags. They haven't been that consistently competitive team. And it's the same philosophy, but because one is attached to a team that hasn't had that success, it's seen by some as a bad philosophy.
It's a bad culture is what they got down there.
It can be,
and
right?
Pittsburgh is a good culture. Well, yeah, they win.
Yeah. Good. Culture is defined by your one-loss record.
They
oftentimes
win a bunch. One more here from Andre Cisco. We saw the AFC South going into the 2023 season. It was thought it was probably going to be the worst division in football. That was the conversation going into the year. Didn't turn out that way last year, and Houston did catch the Jacksonville Jaguars and prevent them from winning back-to-back AFC South titles. But Andre Cisco was asked about the AFC South and says that it's getting better.
The biggest difference I see is the quality of receivers in the division. I think the receivers have taken a huge jump from what the past 2 years have been in the division. Obviously, Reed going to Tennessee. I know the Colts drafted a kid from Texas. Texans already were really good at receiver, but then they had Stephon Diggs. So I think the quality of receiver has taken a step forward. I think quarterback game is quarterback game in the NFL. You're not really going to play too many duds. For me, it's kind of regular day in the office, regardless of who we're playing. But the receivers could definitely make a big difference.
And again, this is Andre Cisco on Sirius XM NFL Radio earlier this week and was asked about, and obviously he's paying attention as a defensive back to the guys he's got to line up against. And, it's getting a little bit more loaded. I did see a piece, maybe it was at NFL.com today, that ranked the divisions by quarterback, basically, like which division has the best quarterbacks and blah, blah, blah. 3 of the top 4 were AFC divisions. None of them were the South, right? Well, it doesn't really matter, right? And in fact, wouldn't you like to have the alpha dog in the division and the rest of them suck? Quite frankly, I would.
Yeah.
Right? I don't care. We don't have to have, we won the division. We were 12-5, and the runner-up had 11 wins, and another team had 10, and the other guy was 500. No, I don't care.
Yeah, that's fine.
Want to hand us 6-0 right out of the gates? We'll take that all day.
Yeah, but would I rather have a division where everyone else stinks or be in a division where Baltimore needed to win 13 to win the division? Give me everyone else stinks.
Right. I get to the quarterback ranking. Like, Anthony Richardson's a big question mark. He's only played 4 games.
Yeah.
As much as Stroud did last year, it was a rookie season. We've seen success in rookie seasons and then sophomore slumps. Trevor Lawrence hasn't been, quote, generational. Like, he hasn't lit the league on fire. Then you got Will Levis, who a lot of people kind of write off. I think he's got some good weapons at the very least. So, I'm not that upset that they feel that way about it. I just thought it was kind of interesting that that's where they were on the quarterback rankings. So we'll take a quick pause here. We'll come back, hear a little thought or two from Fred Taylor, who joins the drill every Monday morning running back right here on 1010 XL. Hope you got your first edition of the 1010 XL newsletter, which dropped today at 10:10 a.m. All kinds of goodies in that, including the opportunity to win all kinds of stuff, not to mention the pair of tickets potentially to the home opener for the Jacksonville Jaguars later on this year. What's that, Pockets? Oh, I got you. All right. We all good. There we go. There you go. Another one. I love the Ladybug. I appreciate all those people who can appreciate a good throwback. All right. Freddie T on the other side. Johnny O in hour number 2 coming your way. We're looking for the Jags' defensive breakout player in 2024. Who is that person for you? Share your thoughts with us in any number of ways, including on the X platform there, and we'll discuss that as the show goes along today. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Things got a little kind of off schedule with me with Awaken with some of the medical procedures and issues I was dealing with over the last several weeks, but you know what? That's the beauty of the program. I snap right back to my fighting trim, and I'm right on the number where I was at the end of last September. I saw a little video of me yesterday. We're kind of tossing the ball around here in the studio, and I'm like, damn, I look skinny. And I really feel like I do, and in a good way, a healthy skinny. You want to be healthier? You want to drop some pounds that have been nagging you? Maybe it's just been tough to get that final 10, 20, 50 off your body. Not only lose them, but maintain that weight loss. Call Awaken 180. They've got over 21,000 satisfied customers. The number is 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800, and you could become the next Awaken 180 success story. Hit your goal weight, you get free support and coaching for life. Schedule your consultation online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Helping you over the hump. Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Weight Loss Wednesday continues from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios on 1010XL.
There's a new one-stop shop for all things Gators. Subscribe to the 1010XL Gators YouTube channel. Up-to-the-minute updates, instant reaction from Gainesville, plus the same 1010XL Gators podcast you've grown to know. And check out 1010XL Gators on YouTube.
Lauren Brooks here from Mayport CNC Fisheries. At my house, we had a feast from Mayport CNC Fisheries with the freshest shrimp around, and it was unbelievable. They also have oysters, scallops, mahi, and so much more. Want to eat like a local? Head to the beach and visit my friends at Mayport CNC Fisheries.
Now those sound like some well-oiled machines. If you're a business owner that uses tons of fuel, you need B&B. If you're in charge of a job site that uses tons of fuel, once again, you need B&B. B&B Oil and Fuel has the fuel you need and will deliver straight to your site or office. Top-notch products and service delivered with B&B Oil and Fuel. Job sites, boats, generators, nothing but the best fuel with B&B Oil and Fuel. Online at bb-oil.com. Only the best with B&B Oil and Fuel.
Duck Rooter is the only master septic contractor in Northeast Florida, and we want to help you protect your septic system. Think about this. What would happen to your car if you never change the oil? Septic systems are no different and should be pumped at least every 3 years. Lack of maintenance is the #1 reason for septic system failure. Call Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services today to schedule your pumping.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision, and equal opportunity employer.
Let's go! Another night of excitement and fun with your Jacksonville Sharks is here. Join us this Saturday, June 22nd in the ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena for some exciting football action as we battle the Massachusetts Pirates. Check out our awesome family packs. You get 4 tickets, 4 food vouchers, and a $25 Al's Pizza gift. For tickets, call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700. And it's Star Wars night. The first 1,000 fans in attendance will receive a free lightsaber. Are you with the Rebels?
Red 5, I'm going in.
Are the Stormtroopers? Get photos with your favorite characters. Hang out with a game for our autograph session and player jersey auction.
Let's go!
Don't miss the fun and excitement of Sharks football and Star Wars night this Saturday, June 22nd at 7. For tickets, call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700 or visit jacksharks.com.
Let's go. Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish. And he's listening to the Nimnicht Outdoor Show.
With tips and stories.
Presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning.
Every Saturday morning, 7 to 10.
On 1010XL.
Hey, it's Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. If you're like me, you're getting crushed by rising costs of everything these days. I get it. It's brutal, and credit card rates are ridiculous and going higher. That's why at Loan Pronto, we launched our Express Equity Line of Credit to bring you the relief you and your family need, using your home, your most valuable asset. We've helped thousands of people like you get fast relief with cash. The average homeowner who does this gets tens of thousands in just days and is able to save $850 per month in overall expenses. I'm talking life-changing money. Your money that you have access to right now. Listen, if you're ready to get control of your finances and get off the hamster wheel, call Loan Pronto. You can get approved for Express Equity Line of Credit in just minutes, and we can get your cash in less than a week. Stop digging a deeper credit card hole today. Call Loan Pronto now. 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. 904-999-1508.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, Tony, I actually did something you may be slightly proud of me for doing this week. Something I hate to do, but I did it anyway. It's not like, kind of like eating your vegetables sometimes. Do I really want to eat that vegetable medley? Not the best thing, but as you get older, you realize, some things, it's not the worst, even if it wasn't your idea. I hate to do things that weren't my idea, right? Gibby, the other day, we were talking about the fact that when I was laid up over the last few weeks, I binge-watched pretty much everything, caught up on everything I wanted to see. And Gibby goes, have you watched Your Honor?
Yeah.
And I said, no, I haven't. It keeps popping up on Netflix, like, this is something you would like.
Yeah, with the new season. Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, because I keep seeing it, And I'm like, man, Bryan Cranston, such an iconic role in Breaking Bad. Do I really want to see him in something else? You know what I mean? I'm like that kind of, right? Like, this is how I identify you. Anyway, watched first 2 episodes, and it was really good. So my wife and I will be working on that one. But you know how it is. Like, we've had people call up and go, you have to watch it. I go, no, I don't. Yes, you can't tell me. But Gibby, I guess, just caught me in the right mood. So.
Yeah. Something.
Checked
you
it out.
Looking for that next thing to watch.
I was happy about it. I did. We were talking on the break there. I don't know how it came up. Oh, what was it, Pockets? Monty Williams?
Monty Williams fired from the Pistons after 1 year, and they still owe him $65 million.
$65 million to go away.
Woof.
You know how quick I'll go away? I will go away so fast it'll be like I was never here. Right, so we were like, I make sure Tony and Pockets have a nice little stipend, and I would take care of some of my immediate family and my first cousins and what have you, and then you'd never hear from me again, man.
Yeah.
I would just be gone. I would disappear if that were the case. And so I started thinking, I would set it up. Sister would be able to retire and what have you. And I said, well, if my son turned out to be a complete screw-up, I'm sorry, he's still my flesh and blood. I'd make sure he had a financial safety net, right? No matter what happened, so, when you hit the age of whatever, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And then I had to brag to the fellas here as, the semester is long since ended, but sometimes they get around to sending you stuff a little bit later. So yesterday in the mail, he got, from the president's office at Florida Southern University and whatever level of whatever list he was on, basically because he got another 4.0.
Oh, very nice.
My kid is killing college, man. I'm so proud of him. It nothing to do with me whatsoever. And I mean, so when it comes to being a screw up, he ain't that. He's just such a just so proud of him, man. I'm just beyond words.
Yeah.
There's nothing he could do. unless he hit the lottery. That would make me happier than what he's doing right now. So super proud dad, and 4.0, man. I mean, that's just crazy. It's
killer, yeah.
Bro, he's 2 years into it. I think he's had 4.0 the last 3 semesters. And it took me a good 4 semesters to figure out what the hell I was doing in college. You know what I mean? Like just how to study and not screw off all the time. And,
yep.
But he's got that locked down, man. He's a very, very good kid, man. All right. By the way, not even 20 years old yet. Oh, it's coming, though. for folks, anyone who worked back in the Clear Channel days with us, you know, they always ask me, how old's your kid now? Like Jack O'Brien asked me, like, last year, what's he, 11? Because Pockets, I used to have a little picture of him as a little baby, cutest little baby ever, on my office door over a Clear Channel, and so everyone just has that image, I guess, in their head. But man, no, it'll be 20.
Yeah, if you don't post them on social media and they don't follow you, it's gonna be kind of hard to follow.
Yeah, I'm not the guy. I don't post pictures of my family because there are weird people out there. Man.
Yes, there are.
You know what I mean? Like
too many creeps.
Yeah, I don't feel the need to go to social media to celebrate like my family's personal achievements or what have you.
I'll celebrate it with the people I need to celebrate it with.
I live in the house with you.
Yeah.
You're going to know how I feel about it, right? Yeah. And I don't think he cares one way or the other as far as that goes. But, yeah, like Jack asked me, like, last year, what's he, 11? and simpler times, bro. No, well, and on the one hand, though, 11, he'd still be in the house on a full-time basis. So let's hear it for 19. All right, let's hear it for Freddie T, who joins the drill every Monday here on 1010 XL. And he weighed in with Jeff and Dan this week on some initial thoughts on Trevor's contract extension.
I mean, he has to go out there and play.
Right.
You know, now he just has to go out there and play. He doesn't have to think about money for forever. You know, that's the least of his thoughts. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I'm glad to see Trevor is there. He can focus on his game. Hopefully we'll see that big leap that we're waiting to see.
I don't think they'd give this contract if they didn't think he was a self-motivated, self-starting kind of guy.
No.
Right? So I don't expect anything to change necessarily. It's just that I hear what Fred's saying. Like, this just mentally frees you up now. All the rest is taken care of. My life is taken care of. If I never sign another contract in the National Football League, he's set, right? And fine. Look, he put himself in this position through a lot of hard work throughout his career, but now you're 24 years old, man. You've got everything right there on your plate. How do you manage it, right? Do you stay that same humble but self-assured person and continue to grind? That's the thing. Superstars. If Josh Allen is one, and we believe he can be, they're not going to have this affect them in a negative way, like, I got there, I finally achieved the top. No, it actually makes them more driven to prove that they're worth that kind of money.
Yeah, and you can, if you get the guys with the right attitude getting paid that kind of money, you should have a bunch of players in the locker room that are kind of chasing that too, right? Like chasing that reward. They see it. This guy is that talented. He got rewarded by the team, and that should have an impact on the locker room, right, for the other guys. And that was the next question that Freddie was asked earlier this week. It's just how he thinks the locker room feels about Trevor getting this deal done.
Well, they're excited for Trevor. No, they're definitely excited for Trevor. Now they want to go and win. You know, at the very end of the day, I believe Trevor's 20-30 overall as a record. You know, and when it's this time, they're saying, okay, well, we still have potential. You know, you look at what he did a year before last year, you say, okay, this kid, he had something.
Look, I do believe that for the most part, players like to see other players get paid because they like to see the cash flowing. But I do think there are probably circumstances in all sports, in any sport, where the guy gets that, even if he is the quote-unquote face of the franchise, in whatever sport that is, that he's just not that beloved, you know, or people are like, or they had to do that, or lucky him, or what. I don't know,
we
man.
Saw it.
I'm not trying to be Pollyanna. I just don't think there's that kind of sentiment towards Trevor Lawrence here.
We saw what giving that kind of guy a deal in the locker room does. It's what they did with Blake. It's what happened.
when you give it to the wrong guy.
Right. Like it was a fifth-year option that they still had him under. They just had all that success, go to the AFC Championship game, everything that went into them accomplishing what they did that year, and then they give him the extension before they had to. And you watched the locker room. Look, I'm not saying that the personalities in that room were exactly balanced, right, with those kind of things anyway. But you watched the big personalities in that locker room that said, no, not him before me.
Right.
Not him before me. It does feel like the locker room right now is, they paid the right two guys.
Right.
Right. Josh Allen and Trevor, that's where the money should go now.
I need to get to that level.
Like, if I play at the level that I need to, they'll take care of me, right? It felt like when they did the deal with Blake that there were a bunch of guys that were going, what? Why him? Why him now? When I'm in position to get paid now.
Or why him at all?
Right. Like, those kind of things were happening. I don't get any sense of that with Trevor and Josh getting the money they got.
I don't either. And, again, you can't know the heart of every single person on a 90-man roster, right? Yeah. And so, like, there's some human nature to be jealous and things like that. But, as long as they continue to show up and put in the work, and, and I get in the case of Josh Allen, like, he puts in his work away from the team when it's voluntary time, but it's been a formula that's worked for him, and it resulted in him having a 17.5 sack season last year.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they're comfortable. They knew it going in. I mean, I think it's different with a quarterback. Even though you're within your rights to miss voluntary stuff, I think when you're the quarterback, you got to be there. You got to lead everything, right? You got to lead. You got to get – not only do you have to be there for the stuff that you're supposed to be there for, the stuff – you don't have to be there for. You have to go above and beyond to create situations where you're bringing your teammates together, like, your receiver group, your tight ends, and just having those throwing sessions in the offseason.
And I think there's something to – look, if you're Josh Allen, you're playing defensive end for the football team. It's not that it's unimportant to get those reps with your teammates, those kind of things, but whatever your work you're doing on your own can get you ready for what you're going to be asked to do. Quarterback's so different because you're so dependent on everybody else that you're going to be working with throughout the entire season to make it work on that side of the ball, and you are in control of that entire side of the ball and how the whole thing functions. So, quarterback, you got to be there. You got to be there. If you're a wide receiver, I feel like you got to be there because you got to work with your quarterback.
Right.
Well, like those things are really important because that's what you can do in an NFL offseason at this point. You can work on the timing in the pass game. That's what you can do on the offensive side of the ball. Other than that, you can kind of play around with different guys being asked to do slightly different things, like that kind of stuff. But I don't know. The other impacts it's going to have long-term on the offense are so small compared to what kind of impact you can have with your quarterback and pass catchers working together for that 4 or 5 weeks. Like, you can pay, what the dividends of that could be.
I saw a story, might have been in the ESPN, about prohibited off-season activities and things that'll get you in trouble, not supposed to do if they're in your contract. And, just a guy who is not participating in the off-season workout program, working out on his own, trying to do the right thing. If he gets hurt, he can be subject to the NFL playing hardball with him. There's team playing hardball with him. I couldn't imagine ever a circumstance where any team, as long as you're doing football activities, right? And you're like, if you go out there and your receiver X, I don't even want to put a name to it because I don't want anybody to get hurt, but your receiver X and you're out there, catching patterns from Trevor Lawrence and you're working and you got a dozen guys out there and you blow out your knee for the year, I would think that the team is going to say, hey, you're doing the right thing, and we're going to do the right thing by you, It's interesting. I was looking at the Nyheim Hines thing in that story. Remember, he was on the jet ski a couple of years ago. He had signed the 2-year deal, and he was, at the dock getting gas in his jet ski when somebody crashed into him. He literally wasn't riding it at the moment, but obviously he was riding the jet ski, right? He was doing stuff, and initially – I think it was Buffalo. They said, we're not going to pay you a dime. And they settled kind of somewhere in the middle. But I wonder if they had to, really. I doubt that they did. And I think they probably do it more that if this guy wasn't being completely reckless and we're not, going to try to make a bad example out of him. It's one thing. If you're skydiving, if you're doing things but jet skiing is definitely one of the most prohibited activities in most player contracts.
I mean, to some degree, the Jags had that with David White, right? Like, it's during one of these activities, a non-contact injury. He's done for the year. I don't know what would happen if he wasn't at the facility when all those things were happening, but he was protected by having been at the facility. Obviously, they waived him, and they wound up bringing him back on the IR this year. But who knows? That's as close to that kind of situation as the Jags have had, at least here in 2024.
All right, one more from Freddie T, just to wrap up that portion of the hour, as he was reflecting on, this is obviously second contract time for Josh Allen and Trevor Lawrence. Freddie reflected on getting his second deal with the Jaguars.
I got here to Jacksonville. My family's here. They're close. They can still see me play. If I go anywhere else, it could have been a bigger market team, but then now I got to potentially factor in taxes and all of that other stuff. So when we sat down to do the deal, at that particular time, I didn't want to risk anything having gone through injuries. I didn't want to come back that next year and try to play out a year, get banged up, and now the market's changed.
Look, you don't hear it very often like that, though. But sometimes enough's enough, right? Like Fred's like, man, I work to get here. My family's around. The tax situation's good. I want to build a legacy with one franchise. Could I chase a few more dollars? Yeah, but you also put yourself at risk when you do that. And you acknowledge, do I want, with some of the early injuries I had in my career, to take on that full burden?
Right.
Or do I want to set myself up for life, or at least a big step down that road? And nowadays it seems like, man, everybody wants that last single dollar, right? Whereas, and I don't begrudge, I think when you look at the deal that Trevor signed, Tone, and you look at the average annual value when you factor in the next 2 years included, it's more like he's the 11th highest paid quarterback in the league as of right now, with several others ready to leap past him.
Yep.
I wouldn't begrudge any quarterback doing what Tom Brady did, and say, like, Tom Brady had a wife making more than he did, so it was a unique circumstance. But I could absolutely see, like Patrick Mahomes could have got more on his deal, signed a 10-year deal. But at the time, he's like, look, I want to leave enough out there so we can chase championships. Is $45 million a year not enough? Like, in top, add all the endorsements that come along with it and everything that goes with.
He's doing okay.
He's doing all right, right? And I think that was Freddie's point right there as well. All right, we'll take a time out here. We'll come back. John Oehser from Jaguars.com will join us for the second hour. We'll continue the conversation on the Jaguar front. And today's question of the day, asking you for a breakout player on the defensive side of the ball. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark here with you. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's another Weight Loss Wednesday. Awaken 180 Weight Loss in the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios, where the pros go. Getting you ready every day.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
Get ready.
This is the most important game of your life. No excuses. Do the work.
With 1010XL.
Mia here, and I've got 2 words for you. Incredible inventory. And it's all at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. I'm talking over 600 vehicles in stock, one location. That's over 275 SUVs, over 200 cars, over 110 pickups. Arlington Pre-Owned even has 125 vehicles under $18K. Plus, now you get 60 days to love your purchase or exchange it. And help from Arlington's Credit for Everyone program. Shop 10939 Atlantic Boulevard or arlingtontoyota.com.
Mark Watson here to tell you a little bit about hardballcreative.com. It's your online promo haven with thousands of ideas on how to promote your company. We're open 24/7, 365.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Clean air, cool air, both are extremely important. Trust Florida Home AC to deliver on both with their Remy Halo, the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and breathe clean and cool air.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
The Jacksonville Axemen Rugby League are back Saturday against the Southwest Florida Copperheads at UNF. It's the battle of the undefeated South. No pads and no helmets. The Axemen are ready to go. So grab a beer and watch the hardest hitting team in Jacks stay undefeated. Kickoff at 7. Tickets start at $10 and kids under 12 are free. Learn everything you need to know at jacksaxemen.com. jacksaxemen.com. The Axemen are proudly sponsored by Ratified Credit Union.
If you're heading to the Og or you're already part of the nation's oldest, don't forget to drop into Sunset Grill. For over 30 years, serving up great chowder, seafood, wings, and cold beer. Sunset Grill, somewhere on A1A, St. Augustine Beach.
What is the world's largest freshwater lake? The answer next.
How long has it been since you compared homeowners' insurance rates? Log on to southernoak.com to get an instant quote or find an agent near you.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Lake Superior has enough water to cover North and South America combined. It is the world's largest freshwater lake.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
There's certain places you know if you go in, they got what you're looking for, like Gate Convenience Stores and Cold Modelo's. That's the ticket. Or get on the craft side of things with something from Bold City or Sweetwater. Hit the cooler at Gate, full of choices and all of them good.
Hey folks, this is Dave Benyon with my son Ammon here from Zero Res. Ammon, you've been cleaning air ducts for a while now. What are some of the reasons customers might consider getting their air ducts cleaned?
There are many reasons. Many times, people suffer needlessly from poor indoor air quality produced by the conditions in their air system. Construction dust, the presence of bacterial growth, and years' worth of buildup all come together to make your air ducts a pretty gross place. If you suffer from allergies, have recently moved, recently remodeled, or have never had your air ducts cleaned, then now is the best time to call. By calling Zero Res, you'll have the peace of mind of knowing that you called the best of the best. Our state-of-the-art truck mount system and top-of-the-line service representatives simply can't be found anywhere else. Google Zero Res and read thousands of 5-star reviews.
So what kind of deals can I expect?
Just mention that you heard us on the radio, and we'll give you $100 off your air duct cleaning.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty great deal. Remember, folks, Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
CEROREC. Zero Res.
Expert Automotive is ready to keep you cool this summer. Right now, get an AC inspection or a system cooling checkup. Your choice for only $19.99. Their gift to you this summer is $50 off any service and a free tire rotation with any service. Their ASE certified technicians can keep your car cool without breaking the bank this summer. Call them at 374-3373 to get an appointment today. Expert Automotive. They never sell greed, only what you need.
Here's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports updates. Jaguar safety Andre Sisco says he's feeling good about the direction of the Jaguars due to the team's front office.
There's a lot of forward thinking going on in the front office, and I think they're planning for, winning in the future.
Number 8-seeded Florida State overpowered the number 4-seeded Tar Heels for a win to advance to the semifinals of the College World Series on Tuesday. FSU will play top overall seed Tennessee in the semifinals today. Game time is 3 p.m. The Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp kicked off their series against the Memphis Redbirds with a win on Tuesday afternoon. Two teams will play again this evening. Game time is 8:05. Major League Baseball player took extra innings for the Marlins to defeat the St. Louis Cardinals. The Rays lost to the Minnesota Twins. On the verge of celebrating the old Negro Leagues, Major League Baseball mourns one of its greats. Willie Mays died at the age of 93 on Tuesday. That's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson.
At 11 o'clock, it's 85 degrees. Time and Scent brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler, Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Oh No's with Jaguars.com's John Oehser. Brought to you by
Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
On 1010XL.
All right, Johnny O has joined the fray here. He is pushing that Jaguar agenda on 1010XL, 92.5 FM. What's up, man?
I got to write down what that agenda is.
You're right off the boat, aren't you? You look fresh off the boat, doesn't he, Tom? Yeah, like you've been out there maybe catching a few rays, knocking back a couple adult beverages with a line in the water.
It's been a long time since I've been on a boat.
All right. Well, you look like you're.
I like having that boat look. It's sort of people think of me.
Yeah, you got the T-shirt, you got the baseball cap, you got the shades up top with
there goes that
the
boat
strap
guy.
in the back. Yeah, you look like a boater. You do. You look like you are Duval till you die.
I once said it's better to have friends with a boat than to own a boat.
That's what they say, right? Two best days: the day you buy it, the day you sell it. That's what they say. I don't know, man. But
better to look like a boat guy than to own a boat.
My sister had a friend in high school whose family lived on a boat. It wasn't a big boat either. I thought at the time this was the coolest thing ever.
Right.
Yeah. Probably would hate it. Right?
It would probably wear thin.
Why is my bed rocking?
Right.
Every night. I can't.
Probably really cool for a weekend.
Right.
And
Exactly. For
and
a
on like
weekend.
Tuesday, you're like, all right.
I'm over it. Can we
Maybe-
go to the hotel?
Right.
All right. So how's the week, man? Obviously big, franchise shaping kind of news with Trevor Lawrence. Like, what has the mood of the organization, as much as you can tell? Obviously, they wanted to get this done. They got it done. But is there a spring in everybody's step? Like, we've knocked down a bunch of dominoes?
I would be disingenuous if I could say I'd sensed that, because they did it sort of after OTAs, right?
Okay.
So everybody kind of left, and I kind of haven't been around football people.
Trevor, by the way, back tomorrow
to do it,
to
right?
talk at 10:15.
So the timing, I think, if it had happened midway through OTAs, I think without a doubt you'd feel the bounce in the step. I think there is a bounce in people's step. I'm sure there was one for Trent away from it. So obviously it's a huge deal. I just can't say that I've seen it, but there's no doubt that getting it done and just having that in order and that chip in the salary cap, knowing how they're going to structure things around it, is probably the most important thing. I mean, I think everybody knew that he was going to be around for the long term. For the franchise now, for the people who manage the cap, set the structure, the foundation going forward, knowing it's sort of like getting the foundation of the house done. Well, now we can build everything else because we know how that's going to look.
We've had the opportunity here on the show to be reacting to this deal since Friday, right? Since it got announced on Thursday afternoon, we've been able to talk about it, but it's our first chance to sit down and talk to you, Johnny O. What does it mean for the franchise that in a single offseason they get a deal done with Josh Allen, with Trevor Lawrence? Like, what does it mean compared to, you were here at the beginning, you had that period there in the middle where you weren't around it, but you have been here again for a while, compared to where they were early on, where they were when you got back and leading up to the last couple of years. How important is it for them to have an offseason like this where they do reward a couple of these types of guys?
Well, it's definitely a bigger 1-2 punch, I think, than anything they did in the 90s in terms of signing their own guys, because it was so different then, too. It's hard to compare. Getting Baselli done back then was a big deal, but I'm not sure as much as, I don't know, maybe it was made of it back then just because you didn't have
I think it's more that expectation that it was just going to happen.
Yeah,
that
I think
Free
that's probably
agency
the
was
best.
pretty new still.
Right, and Jaguars fans sort of didn't know that you could go a long time without doing it. So when you signed Baselli and you re-signed the guys they re-signed, it didn't resonate. With this, I think the fact that it's been a long time, and I guess really ever, since they've re-signed anybody of these two statuses, meaning top 10 draft pick to this era money, to do them twice. I mean, to do them both, and to do them both at what you would call foundation positions of the defense. As long as they both perform to the contracts, it's one of the one or two biggest off seasons in franchise history.
Oh, absolutely.
So, if they don't, it's disastrous. So it's sort like if they drop off the face of the earth, then it's horrendous. But I don't think that'll happen.
What is your opinion? And much has been said about it on all sides about the actual way they did the deal in terms of the structure. Like, if you look at it on the one hand, Trevor Lawrence, a new money average, matches Joe Burrow as the highest paid guy in the league. But if you look at it at a 7-year deal, then it knocks him down to about the 11th highest paid quarterback. I think the Jags have been tremendous in keeping salary cap flexibility. If Tony and I laugh about it on a weekly basis almost, they might have more cap space than they ended the offseason with. And they made a lot of moves along the way, including these two big contracts. So what do you make just about the way they structured the deal to remain financially viable to continue to be aggressive in the near future?
I think remarkably good for both sides, I guess is what I'm getting at. Meaning, as you say, Trevor got his money. they also maintained. Trevor got the money and the ability to, hey, $55 million a year. It's commensurate with the other big quarterback contract.
Yeah.
At the same time, because it was added on, because you have cap flex, meaning added on 26 through 30 are the new years, keeping the flexibility that you inherently have with a rookie contract at the end allows the team to pay Trevor to meet in the middle, I guess, which is what you want from a negotiation. That's ideal. I think they accomplished it probably with as little risk. Anytime you give a contract like this, there's tremendous risk because you're assuming he's going to live up to it and all that. It made sense from both sides, and it felt like it was going to be that from the very beginning of the negotiation. I think maybe that's what made it unique.
I think going into Trevor's fourth year, John, that I feel like there is a low enough level that he would play to that it would really surprise me, right, if the season turned out bad for Trevor Lawrence going into year 4. I don't feel like there's an upper end for me. Like, I don't feel like if he achieved MVP conversation,
right,
if the team was a playoff team deep into the playoffs, none of that would surprise me with Trevor Lawrence. Did you feel that way a week ago with him? Did the expectations for what you thought year 4 and going into the future would be for Trevor change at all with them getting the contract done? What effect does that have?
Yeah, not really. I think to your point, I think he's shown that when healthy, and I still believe the last 4 or 5 games of last season, the fall off was more because of health. But we've gotten into that a lot on this show. I think when healthy, he's a very, very good quarterback that needs to clean up turnovers. But even with that Achilles heel, he's had stretches where he's been really, really good. Clean that up. Physically, I think the sky's the limit. What I wonder about with Trevor, where, and I would wonder about it with any quarterback who hasn't shown it yet, how high can the football instinct get? Which there's been times where that hasn't been fantastic in terms of a field vision, knowing when to give up on a play, all that quarterback stuff. Where does that go? Does that get elite level? Like we've seen from Rodgers, Manning, Mahomes, all that game feel stuff. That stuff he'll gain as he goes forward. Where does that end? I don't know.
It's interesting because on the one hand, you can say, well, there's more pressure now, right?
Yeah.
You've got to live up to this deal. On the other hand, you can look at it and go, well, there's no pressure now, right? Like the deal's
right,
done. I'm the guy. If I go out there and have a bad first half,
right,
so be it, right?
Well, sure.
Not that he was not in that circumstance anyway. He wasn't in any danger of ever being benched at any point in time. Somebody sent along a link to an article from The Athletic, and it had 4 different ways Trevor Lawrence can improve drastically this season, and a lot of it had to do with replacing Calvin Ridley with someone who's more consistent, quite frankly, but one of them was forcing passes, and that is not Ridley specific.
Sure.
That's a Trevor Lawrence thing. I think it's not, to me, the forcing passes thing. I'm more concerned with like ball security in the pocket, right?
In talking to Mike McCoy last week, or whenever the coaches talked, and again, I think in that situation, most coaches are going to talk very positively about their guys. So I get that people would say, well, he's going to say that. His thing with Trevor was there were a few oh-no passes, as you would call them, or, ooh, what's he doing? He said, but not very many. So I don't think they see that as – it's an issue if any happen. But I don't think they see that as a defining trait of his, meaning the forcing passes or making bad decisions. I think it's much more what you're talking about, awareness and not trying to do the hero play. It's hard when you have elite ability in a guy to get them to realize sometimes you're not going to score a touchdown.
And he's also got to realize now, and maybe that's part of it, that, hey,
might get hurt.
You're here for 7 years
Yeah.
now at a minimum. And look, I just think that
better to give away one play here than 5 games.
I will be shocked if in 5 or 6 years Trevor Lawrence is not getting another contract extension.
Yeah.
I mean, shocked, really. Like, that's the level
And
of
if you
confidence
believe that, then the deal is fantastic.
Oh, it's magnificent.
Right? So yeah,
right,
right.
and it's refreshing too, because the two pillars now, he and Josh Allen, have really gone out of their way to express their happiness and desire to be a part of the Jacksonville Jaguar organization. Right? I mean, Josh Allen didn't push to break the bank anywhere else. He wanted to stay here. He's always talked about that from day one.
Yeah.
And to have those two guys, now they got to live up to it
Sure.
on the field. This is a line from that piece here at The Athletic. This is their opinion on it. On most of his interceptions, talking about Trevor, it seems like he knows the risk and sees a crowd of defenders, but throws the ball anyway because he believes he can fit it in somehow. What they're saying is he's not misreading the defense. He's not being surprised by the coverage. He's just a guy that has rare throwing ability, and we've seen some of those balls, like how did that ball get through, which going back a few weeks is still mystifying, how Greg Cosell talked about arm strength being like not one of the things in his column, which was kind of weird because he saw a couple of deep balls flutter. Most of the metrics say Trevor Lawrence is an outstanding deep ball thrower.
Yeah, Greg's really good, so if he's seeing something,
I'm sure he's seen a few examples.
Then
right?
it's probably there at times. I guess again, I would go back to the term a defining characteristic. Weak arm doesn't feel like defining characteristic. There's very few throws where I say, boy, that would have worked if Trevor had a stronger arm.
The other three categories that they put in this piece, number one, Ridley's misuse and failure. Wow. In other words, they felt like Ridley would have benefited from more slot snaps. Well, you got your guy there, right? And now you've got...
Also, there was a point where you didn't want to give him two roles to play.
Correct.
In his first year, when there were times
when
they showed in the one.
Right.
So I get the point from a 30,000 feet view that the writer's making. From a reasonable view, it was going to be hard to make him do two things.
Sure. No, but they're saying, like, this is just the circumstance.
Sure.
Now you're going to have more of the prototypical X-type receiver bodies on the outside. And that's, the roles will be more clearly defined.
Yeah.
One of them then was about drop passes. Again, that's not a Trevor Lawrence trait. And expected points lost due to drop passes. Trevor Lawrence led the league with the Jags should have scored about 38 more points if you didn't have the drops.
5 or 6 more touchdowns. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can kind of, the clips are all over the place.
That may not sound like a lot, but that's the most in the National Football League.
Yeah. Well, when you consider you probably have 6-7 games decided by a touchdown, and that takes away 5 touchdowns.
Now, granted, Patrick Mahomes was third in this category, so it's not like he's exclusive to it, but, that's a pretty big
right.
When you look at the bar chart and you see how Trevor's line is so it's statistically significant how much worse he had it than other people in this category.
As sort of a case in point, one of the plays that turned around the 22 season, remember Zay's catch over by the sideline against the Titans, where it was a great catch on the sideline up there against Tennessee. Last year, a lot of those catches don't get made. So it's just little things like that sort of affect how Trevor's perceived.
The other one was a miscommunication with wide receivers. And, again, some of that can be on Trevor, right? But some of it also, clearly we're talking about Ridley. We're not trying to trash the guy. He had a pretty good, productive season. His first year back in a couple of years. But
there were some high-profile issues.
There were hiccups along the way, right? And that doesn't guarantee that just because you have new guys in here, Gabe Davis and Brian Thomas Jr., that the communication's going to be spot on.
Well, you got the same issues of first year with Trevor. I mean, it's the same thing. It's just how well are they going to do in that situation compared to how well Calvin Ridley did, which wasn't fantastic from that regard.
Just thought it was interesting that here's basically a piece on how Trevor Lawrence can improve. And about 3/4 of it are if the players around him play a little bit better, he's going to improve his numbers. So, I went on in Buffalo this morning, and they said, look, and basically came down to, you got the stat people and the watch the game bro crowd, right? And they're like, the people who watch football, and this was their perspective up in Buffalo, they have no reason to shine on Trevor Lawrence. If you watch it, the numbers and the eyeball test don't match up quite as much. If you look at the pure stats, you're going to draw one conclusion. Now, that doesn't mean when the stats tell you he's turning it over as much as he does, that's not a lie.
The fumbles are really the thing that I think, of all the package, if you pull that out and look at it, that's the one that's hard to explain, and that it's been a weakness that has to become at least not a problem.
There's no reason it can't not – I don't know if you call
if
it
there's anything
strength.
fixable, it's that, right?
Totally
Right,
fixable.
so
right? And, part of that is can you fix awareness in the pocket?
Right.
I think you can. The more reps you have, the more you're exposed to these situations, and the more you emphasize it. You don't want to take the gunslinger out of Trevor Lawrence, though. So you got to walk that line a little bit. All right, let's take a break here. John Oehser is in from Jaguars.com. Today's question of the day, presented by Chad and Sandy Real Estate, asking you who's the defensive breakout player this year. We'll discuss that a little bit when we come back. Tony will take us around the rest of the National Football League. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on 1010XL. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss. Dan Hicken.
I need that ball. Get me the ball.
Jeff Prosser.
You need the ball. Get me the ball. Get you the ball. Are you going to get me the ball? I'll get you the ball.
Dan and Jeff, The Drill. Mornings on 1010XL.
Cataracts are the leading cause of vision loss in the United States and blindness worldwide. Hicken here for Bowd9 Associates. June is Cataract Awareness Month. Cataracts are a condition that causes the eye's lens to become cloudy, which can block or change the way light passes through the eye. Bowd9 is here to take care of you or someone you know who are experiencing faded colors, intensified brightness to light, or poor night vision. Call or visit Bowd9.com to schedule your consultation. Bowd9 Associates, they're keeping the First Coast focused.
Now that's what I call high-quality H2O. If you want high-quality water throughout your home, call your local water boy. We install equipment to solve any water problem. WaterBoyJAX.com.
See the world through the eyes of a linebacker.
I tell it like I see it, and I see it like a middle linebacker.
Tom McManus joins Jaguars Today every Friday morning.
Period.
Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Facing a DUI charge or even a boating under the influence charge? Well, I'm your man, DUI lawyer Malcolm Anthony at 285-4LAW. 285-4LAW. Once again, 285-4LAW.
Your cooling system isn't working. Maybe somebody showed up with a portable electronic device. Then they discussed with you what your options are. Maybe they gave you an estimate that seems like an awful lot of money. What's the smart thing to do? When the situation merits a second opinion, get a Mike Merritt opinion. Yes, the Mike Merritt Comfort Team shows up with hand tools. We've never been able to fix an air conditioning problem with a tablet. Mike Merritt has been the trusted name for more than 30 years because there's never any hocus pocus. The Merritt team will walk you through the diagnostic steps up close and personal and show you exactly what you need. And the Mike Merritt price is likely to be far less because there's never an overtime charge, and the Merritt team doesn't work on commission. So remember, when it comes to the health of your cooling system, a second opinion can only help, and a Mike Merritt opinion can save you money. Florida license CACO 50384. Have you tried golfing at the improved Cimarron Golf Club? If you haven't, tell you what, you're missing out on the best deal in Jacksonville. Now, many of you have received a postcard in the mail, and of course, if you bring that with you, $45 plus tax to play. That includes a cart, lunch, and a beer at the brand new Stone Barrel Tap House. Now, go to the website, that is CimarronGolfClub.com, and sign up for the Wild One Loyalty Program. That's the Wild One Loyalty Program, and get all of these specials emailed to you from Cimarron.
Wednesday is Free Friday at 1010XL's Restaurant of the Day, John Smith Subs. Experience the thrill of the grill and get free fries with any sandwich purchase all day today. Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs on Hodges at JTV.
This is Hayes Carline for Skylife Elite. Are you tired of canceled flights, unruly passengers, and layovers? Call my friends at Skylife Elite. Consider using private charter flights for your next adventure. Yes, you can afford it. Make your own schedule. Fly direct. Drive your car to Craig Airport and get directly on the plane. Skylife Elite can make that happen. Call 490-9332, go to flyskylife.com, and find them on social media. Fly Skylife Elite, North Florida's premier private air charter.
Let's go! Another night of excitement and fun with your Jacksonville Sharks is here. Join us this Saturday, June 22nd in the ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena for some exciting football action as we battle the Massachusetts Pirates. Check out our awesome family packs. You get 4 tickets, 4 food vouchers, and a $25 Al's Pizza gift. For tickets, call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700. And it's Star Wars night. The first 1,000 fans in attendance will receive a free lightsaber. Are you with the Rebels?
Red 5, I'm going in.
Are the Stormtroopers? Get photos with your favorite characters. Hang out with a game for our autograph session and player jersey auction.
Let's go!
Don't miss the fun and excitement of Sharks football and Star Wars night this Saturday, June 22nd at 7. For tickets, call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700 or visit jacksharks.com.
Let's go!
Hey folks, this is Dave Benyon with my son Ammon here from Zero Res. Ammon, you've been cleaning air ducts for a while now. What are some of the reasons customers might consider getting their air ducts cleaned?
There are many reasons. Many times, people suffer needlessly from poor indoor air quality produced by the conditions in their air system. Construction dust, the presence of bacterial growth, and years' worth of buildup all come together to make your air ducts a pretty gross place. If you suffer from allergies, have recently moved, recently remodeled, or have never had your air ducts cleaned, then now is the best time to call. By calling Zero Res, you'll have the peace of mind of knowing that you called the best of the best. Our state-of-the-art truck mount system and top-of-the-line service representatives simply can't be found anywhere else. Google Zero Res and read thousands of 5-star reviews.
So what kind of deals can I expect?
Just mention that you heard us on the radio, and we'll give you $100 off your air duct cleaning.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty great deal. Remember, folks, Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
C-E-R-O-R-E-C, Zero Res.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and I've got some exciting news from Leonard Truck Outfitters and their new location on Beach Boulevard. Stocking brands like Real Truck, UWS, WeatherGuard, Carry-On Trailers, and much more. Grand opening celebration June 28th, starting at noon with tons of special promotions and giveaways like a brand new golf cart.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Oh No's.
With Jaguars.com's John Oehser.
Brought to you by
Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars on 1010XL.
I feel somewhat, Tony, like this has been turned back the clock week with the amount of engagement we've gotten from Duval Doom right now that he's all excited about being our burger chef for our July 4th cook-off here. You're invited if you want to stop by.
July 4th cook-off?
July 2nd. We're going to do it.
And Doom will be here?
Doom's going to come and cook.
Oh, like, that's incentive.
You know, we do, like, we're going to have ribs, we're going to have burgers, we're going to have whatever. And, like, so he's going to be the burger chef representative for Jaguars Today. The drill will have one. So that's one category. You go head-to-head, and there's going to be all kinds of prizes we're going to compete for. But the key is, if you can be a judge, you get to eat all the food.
Okay.
And
will Doom's emotional highs and lows come into play? In that?
Probably.
Okay.
I mean, Doom was the first and one of only 2 to this day that I blocked on social media and brought back from the depths.
Sure.
Okay, and he did it with a pledge of a $100 donation to the J Fund.
Okay.
He's like, is that worth unblocking me? I said, yeah, fine. You know, I'm a hothead, dude. I'll block you again, but you know, but yeah, for now I'll do it.
Right, there's no guarantees in your world.
Not at all. And then Ryan Day over at Big Cat Country, I don't even know why I blocked him. Like,
for fun.
Probably. But I got nothing, no axe to grind there, and I pulled him back. And
I'm not a big blocker, but I'd probably block Ryan.
Oh, I am a big blocker. I'm a blocker or muter, but I like the block because then they know, right? Like, I don't mind you knowing that I don't care for you to be showing up on my timeline. But anyway, Doom said, fun fact, the guy who wrote the article for The Athletic that we're just referencing blocked him on Twitter. Big shock when he tried to say the reason that the Niners' new stadium was empty most of the time was the heat, and Doom came receipts stating that the average game day temperature is 76 degrees. So he's fully engaged right now.
They got him blocked?
I guess so, yeah.
I'm guessing it's a pretty unexclusive club of people who have blocked Doom.
I would think it's widespread, completely widespread. There's no question. And look, I block people for different reasons, right? And but the number one. If you get personal, you can say
Sure.
you're an idiot for having that opinion.
Right.
But that's not personal to me, right? That your opinion's idiotic.
Yeah, I'm
fine,
with you.
right? I call people idiots all the time. But if you say you are this or you're what, like, man, we will keep it on the sports
It's supposed
debate
to be fun.
platform.
On some level, that interaction is supposed to have an element of fun.
Or even if it's not fun, it shouldn't be just
Right.
pure nastiness
It's a game.
all the time, right?
Yeah,
And
you
if
say
and
it.
if you want to be that way, be that way. Man, there are plenty of people that
But
won't
you have
block
to do
you.
it right.
You won't do it in my timeline. Tony, why don't you take us on a quick tour around what's going on with the other franchises?
Now, Gems Around the NFL. Brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
The Miami Dolphins officially signed defensive lineman Calais Campbell on Tuesday. Pittsburgh is waiving wide receiver Denzel Mims. Mims, a second-round pick by the New York Jets in 2020, spent 3 years there before being traded to Detroit with a 2025 seventh-round pick for a conditional 2025 sixth-round pick. Mims has never appeared in a game for Detroit, spent last season on the Steelers practice squad, now set to be waived again. Free agent offensive lineman David Bakhtiari, who was selected as a first-team All-Pro twice, second-team All-Pro 3 other times in 11 seasons there in Green Bay. He was released this year after only being able to play 13 games in the last 3 seasons. He told the Adam Schefter podcast that he is really happy with the progress from his most recent surgery and that he hopes to be able to play for another 3 years. Free agent center Connor Williams, who suffered what his agent called a pretty significant ACL injury in December last year, is hoping to be ready for the start of the season and plans to sign with the team before training camp begins. He is reportedly in discussions with 3 teams about where he will be this season.
Boy, Denzel Mims, man, you want to talk about, if you were going to get in the lab and draw up an athlete,
no doubt,
who looked like he'd be a hell of a receiver in the National Football League, it was Denzel Mims. And just some of those guys, man, just never click.
No,
whatever
more
reason.
to it.
A lot more to it, obviously. He was a second-round pick. I mean, the Jags don't feel bad. They spent plenty of first-round picks on wide receiver busts over the years. By the way, Florida up 3-1 over Kentucky right now. If you're listening to 1010 on the AM, you already know that because we're not being broadcast on the AM. If you're on 92.5 or the 92.5 app or on the YouTube in the virtual studio, just keeping you posted. Florida up 3-1 over Kentucky. It's bottom of the first, by the way. So, as those metal bats tend to do, they lead towards high-scoring games.
Especially this deep into it. Like, the pitching's going to be a little bit more tired
Getting worn out
the further they get into it. Yeah.
For sure. So, Florida got postponed last night, trying to win this one, and then they would take on Texas A&M tonight. And if they win that one, they'd face the Aggies again, I think, tomorrow to advance to the College World Series championship round. Is that what the first one's tonight, right?
Yeah. First, and if the loser of this game, the winner of this game, got to play A&M and beat them twice.
Correct, right. But so if A&M wins tonight, A&M goes to the championship pairing.
Correct.
But if Florida were to win this game against Kentucky and beat A&M, then they play tomorrow again, right?
Correct.
All right, Pockets is locked in.
Locked in.
Yeah, well, it's Gators, so his ears perked up and he's ready to go. He's an alum. I understand.
I'm watching the game right here on my phone.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Now, I thought you were watching
I'm not even listening to the show.
Oh, you're watching Johnny O over there. You heard Gator, and he jumped right in. Yeah, we got the TV on in the studio right here. I watch a little bit of the College World Series here and there this year. I'm not a Florida State fan. Like, I wouldn't buy the T-shirt, but I root for Florida State. You know what I mean? Like, I actually, if I had a college baseball team, it would be Arizona State because that's where Reggie Jackson went.
Okay.
That's
Makes
how.
sense.
So I rooted for them. And of course, then I found out Prisco's big Arizona State guy, so it kind of turned me off. So
Yeah, Pete went to it.
I know.
That's a real.
It's legit, right? He
There's
didn't
real passion for him.
Right, he didn't just pull it out of left field. Speaking of Pete, he did the top 100 list this week. He had Josh Allen, I think, at 23.
Okay.
What do you make about the gap between Josh Allen? Like, in the top 11 or 12 players, I think there were 5 edge rushers listed, right? Like Max Crosby, T.J. Watt, Nick Bosa. You had Garrett. There was one other guy in there, Tone, who's escaping me right off the top of my head. But I think it was 5 guys, right? And then a little bit of a gap to Josh Allen. What do you think, or is there anything Josh Allen could do to close the perception gap? I'm not saying he's even there's in reality a gap between.
I would
those
say
players.
do it again.
Back it up with
It's probably
another
the biggest,
15-plus sack season.
Yeah, the guys you mentioned, Bosa, Garrett, I forget who else he said.
Garrett, Bosa, Max Crosby, T.J. Watt were 4 of the 5.
To me,
Hutchinson?
No, it wasn't Aiden Hutchinson.
It's fair to have those guys above Josh at this point because those guys feel like they've done it in a year where everybody knows they have to stop him. Josh, I'm not sure, has done it under that circumstance. Doesn't mean he can't, but it's fair to put that as okay, if he has 16 this year, 50 or whatever the number is, but feels elite like he did last year, then I'm guessing Pete probably has I think that probably moves you into a category of okay, now teams have game planned for you for a season and you've still done it. So it's probably fair.
Micah Parsons was the other one.
Fair.
Couldn't think of. He had Hutchinson at 47 overall, by the way.
And again, a guy in Parsons we've all seen, even when you know it's coming.
Defensive Player of the Year capability, right. Even though, he's the number one guy you got a game plan for.
I think that's what I'll be watching for with Josh this year. Okay, now that you've done it, and teams are trying to figure out ways to take you away, can you overcome that? Sort of like, the whole thing, the second run through when you're a pitcher in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you've done it, can you do it again now that we're ready for you?
Well, for Josh Allen to have what would be defined as a breakout year this year, we were saying might need to set the new league sack record, right? I mean, because to break out from 17 and a half, it would be crazy.
Well, I think he's broken out.
Right. But
there is that consistency that it does feel like he's always about improving. There's a little bit of room there for to take one more step.
Right, and you can make the argument Trayvon Walker broke out last year, right? Mm-hmm. But he could still – you could break out from 10 to 15 to 17. Josh Allen had not been that guy. He had a breakout year last year, and he had been a double-digit sack guy before. So today's question of the day, presented by Chad and Sandy Real Estate, who is the breakout player you see emerging on defense this year? We'll discuss that when we come back here in a moment. John Oehser in studio here with us. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Food Sandwiches, Subs. They've always got those great options for you when you swing into a gate station. But you can start your day off right with a little breakfast from Dandy as well. All the fixins you need and all the many combinations you can imagine, from buttermilk biscuits, soft flaky croissants, French toast, gotta love that, light tasty maple waffles, sizzling country sausage, black forest ham, thick sliced bacon, peppered fried eggs, Wisconsin cheddar cheese, and so many other great options. And by the way, breakfast is good any time of the day. When you're hungry and on the go, Dandy is the label you're looking for. Swing into a gate station, maybe fill up the tank, but fill up your belly with some goodness from Dandy, made with the highest quality ingredients, always delivered fresh, great variety, prices that put a smile on your face every single time. It's just a consistent win every time you go with Dandy or the Anytime Deli line. It's a local company that's been making good for a long, long time. So when you're hungry, do what I do. Go out and make yours a Dandy. Do it today.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today from the JOI Studios. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss. Here's another classic Florida Gator moment.
We got 30 minutes for the rest of our life. 30 minutes. We're going to hit somebody and we're taking down the field for a touchdown. I guarantee you that. Let's go. Let's go.
1010XL, home of the Florida Gators.
Is your old AC trying to keep up with the Florida heat?
At JTM Comfort Services, they understand the importance of a reliable AC system. That's why they offer financing on qualified repairs and replacements. Don't suffer through another scorching summer. Upgrade now to a new, energy-efficient system. Visit jtmcooling.com to learn more and schedule your consultation. Veteran and family-owned.
Your comfort is our name. Call my dad to keep you in the game.
Has someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI, domestic violence, and all criminal offenses. In your battle with the justice system, there's only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645. 354-5645.
International soccer returns this summer. Don't miss your chance to see teams from the biggest league in the world in Jacksonville as they compete for the Stateside Cup. Be there when Premier League clubs Wolves and West Ham take to pitch July 27th at Everbank Stadium, home of the Jaguars. With the series trophy on the line, competition will be fierce. Tickets on sale now for as low as $35 at statesidecup.com.
How can you reach your weight loss goals by the 4th? Simple. Make a Bacon 180 with a Waken 180. Bacon's on the table, burgers, lobsters, you name it. Don't sacrifice the summer avoiding what you love. Make a Bacon 180 at awaken180weightloss.com.
Hey Jacksonville, Lauren Brooks here from Helmets and Heels for Big Chief Tire. For over 60 years, Big Chief has been known for fair prices and quality service you can trust. Whether you drive an electric vehicle or a traditional car, they carry the best tire brands to keep you safe on the road. If you're ready to experience great service without breaking the bank, visit BigChiefTire.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule an appointment at any of their 5 locations. 904-932-0950.
He was the best back in Jacksonville.
It has to be Fred Taylor.
Fred Taylor joins Dan and Jeff on The Drill Monday mornings at 8:30.
A tough guy.
Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein and Robbins and B&B Fuel and Lubricants.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and summer fun. That means it can be anytime, whenever there's warm weather out, to go enjoy the off-roads with a Honda ride. Now, this is a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler.
That's right. Honda's got a great line of two-wheel products, and of course, their side-by-sides and ATVs, which are legendary and a ton of fun to get out with your family and friends.
I tell everybody, you can pretty much load up and go anywhere and find fun with one of those.
Absolutely.
Honda, with their beautiful off-road lineup, 2 wheels and 4 wheels. Check them out on the showroom floor, Atlantic near Regency, or online, cyclesofjacksonville.com.
Are your kids ready to play this summer? Come check out the Y. Summer is a time for kids to explore new things and expand the limits of their imagination. At the Y Summer Camp, every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, outdoor games, and more. Registration is now open, but space is limited, and spots are filling up quickly. Learn more and find your adventure at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
This is Joe C. from XL Primetime and stoked to crank up the 9 after 5 once again at the Golf Club of Southampton. Every Wednesday, a little after 5, the gang at Southampton will be hosting us with a new game, and I'm inviting you to be a part of it. Now, through the summer stretch, break up the week with a little hump day fun every Wednesday. Call 287-PLAY to get on the tee sheet. There'll be food afterwards and prizes, including playing for a membership at the Golf Club of Southampton. Call 287-PLAY and hit the tee with Joe C.
This is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about being a godly example. Every day, we're setting an example in our words and actions. And many times, we can act one way in one setting and then totally different in another setting. My encouragement for you is to not send out mixed messages. God is depending on you to set the example in people's lives. You don't know, but you may be the only Bible that someone ever sees today.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
New and pre-owned firearms are in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimber, Smith & Wesson, 6 Hour, Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Only at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Nobody knows the Jags like Johnny O.
Oh, knows. Brought to you by
Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
On 1010XL.
All right, Dylan was dreaming when he wrote the script for the Gators' first inning. 7-1 right now. I almost said 7-0. Kentucky did get a run in the top of the first. They batted around and continue here with 2 outs.
Just got walked. Yep.
Yep. As somebody hit a granny. I have no idea who it was. So, but anyway, 7-1 Florida on top of Kentucky, which you know if you're listening to 1010 a.m. But if you are, you're not hearing me right now or us right now. So exclusively on 92.5 FM for the second hour today, and that will be the case for Helmets and Heels until the Gator game wraps up, and then looks like they're on their way to playing Texas A&M tonight.
Yeah, might change your pitching plan for the rest of this game depending on what happens here in the next couple innings.
Yeah, the next couple innings, because college baseball is still so volatile, man. You're like, you're up 6, and you're like, blink of an eye.
Yep.
This game could be 17-16.
It could.
You never know. Yeah,
right.
so.
We'll see. But anyway, that's where it is right now, 7-1 Florida. For those who are emotionally invested in that side of things. Pockets, why don't you set us up for a little discussion on today's question of the day?
10-10 take. Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take. Brought to you by Leonard Truck Accessories.
All right, who will be the Jags' breakout player on defense in 2024? One of the reasons we went with this today is that there was a piece out there on breakout candidates for the Jags that was done at Pro Football Network, I believe, and that included just anybody. The top guy on their list, Trevor Lawrence. Let's hope he has a breakout season, right? And we'll talk offensive players tomorrow, but who do you think is most likely? Devin Lloyd was mentioned in the article, and a lot of people have responded with him as their top pick. Tank Bigsby was also mentioned. I get it. It's all relative. Not saying Tank's going to be a 1,200-yard rusher, but can he be just a consistently reliable number 2 would be a step in the right direction. Who else do they have in here? They had Devon Hamilton. Could this be the year this year that they anticipated him having last year? And then, Tony, the guy you and I, because we discussed it on the break, that they went with in the last spot was Antonio Johnson, who would be our candidate here. Again, reasons he fell in the draft, figure them out yourself, but the Jags, by most scouting profiles, got a bargain when they got him in the 5th round, John. It does appear he's going to be, if not a full-time player, close to a full-time player this year. He brings some playmaking ability. He can play the run. He can play the pass. He's versatile in the secondary as well. And this team needs some young, cheap labor that can play at a high level. And, Tone, I think that Johnson is going to be, by kind of halfway through the season, I think people around the league are going to be going, oh, yeah, I remember him when he came out. That's what happened to him, because they have a tendency to forget when they end up in Jacksonville.
I had Antonio Johnson high on a top 5 list that we did a few weeks ago talking about players going into year 2 and 3.
Okay.
That we expect to have a big impact for this football team. And I'll echo a lot of the thoughts I had then about who I expect the breakout player to be. He is such a versatile piece in what they can do. If they need him to play linebacker, at times, he's capable of doing that. He can play in the slot for you. It's kind of that big safety, the third safety on the field, as well as playing that free safety position, strong safety. He can do any of that you need him to do, and there's not going to be many players who get around the football as much as he did with as little as he played, right? He gets the 2 interceptions last year, has a sack, has a couple of other passes defense, forced a fumble last year while he was playing basically 20% of the snaps in the games where he was playing, right? He wasn't playing a ton, but he was around the football so much. This year, I think he's going to be a starter basically going into the season, but exactly how all that's going to work is a little cloudy at this point in time. But I think we've seen enough of him already to think that he is a piece that they can move around and ask him to do whatever, and he's capable of doing it for you in a defense where it's hard to nail anything down right now.
Do you have to be a little careful, John, with a second-year player, first year in a new defense, where you don't want to overload him and ask him to do too many things?
Yeah, I think you always want to be aware of that. But I think they're all transitioning to a bit of a new scheme, so I don't know if that's a huge factor. I'm kind of with Tony. I don't know if he starts per se. I don't know if he doesn't, because I'm not sure we know exactly what the secondary is going to look like in terms of roles and playing time. I don't think there's any question he's going to play a major role, and I absolutely think there is an element to secondary play where guys have a nose for the ball. And we see with Andre Cisco, whatever Andre is or isn't, he has a nose for the ball. I think the same thing is true of Antonio Johnson. We saw it. I would, as I told you guys during the break, I would sort of go with Trayvon as my breakout player. But when you said Antonio, I said, boy, I wish I'd said that.
Well,
because I think he's a very good choice for it. And there's a couple guys on defense, Lloyd, Johnson, particularly, who, if they play to what they might, then all of a sudden there's a couple of guys who can make it a playmaking defense in addition to a good defense.
So what would a breakout for Trayvon Walker look like in your opinion?
Probably it would look like the back half of last season looked, where every game you noticed him, and so I always hesitate to hang a sack number because I understand that those can get skewed with circumstance sometimes, but I think feeling dominant in 12 of the 17 games, or
more of the presence that he brings as opposed to the statistical.
Which I think late last season, it got to the point at the end of the season in week 17 where week 18, he had a sack or he made a play where it was almost not notable anymore because he had done it so consistently the last 4 or 5 weeks. For a while during that, you wanted to be like, hey, there's Trayvon, number 1 pick, he's doing it. By weeks 17 and 18, you were used to it because it was routine for him. I think it needs to feel like that for it to be a breakout year of, oh, this guy's really, really good. I think he is, but where everybody's going, okay, that's what we're getting out of.
Sacks are the easiest counting stat you point at, and if he has like 12, that's a step in another step in a good direction, but it's not really a breakout, from 10. But to me, it's more about consistent pressure and being a force against the run, and I'm just fascinated to see the combinations that they put together with the front 4 and the front 7. With the versatility of a guy like Trayvon, the versatility of a guy like Eric Armstead, and Mason Smith as well, who I think can play inside and outside. We know Josh Allen's going to bring it, right? But what other pieces can you put in particular combinations depending on down and distance to mix and match these guys?
Lloyd's a huge part. I mean,
he could be a big part of that.
Lloyd, to me, when a guy's going into his 3rd year and hasn't done it, I'm not saying give up on him. I now need to see it before I hype it, right? But if I continue to say, when he's around the ball finds a way to stay in his hand. He had some drops last year, but you know what I'm saying. He has a way of touching the football and breaking up things. If he can get in the right position, he is an impact playmaker on defense, but he's got to get in the right position.
More people probably picked Devin Lloyd than anybody in response today. Got some Trayvons, got some Devon Hamiltons. Tyler Lacey, not breakout in terms of household name, but will make an impact. That is
hard to break out as a defensive tackle.
Well, especially
but he could be very good in the rotation.
He also could be completely a forgotten guy. Yeah. They've got a lot of bodies there that have played decent NFL football. I'm not talking about stacked with Pro Bowlers, but Tyler Lacey's got some names to climb over to make an impact.
Looking at Trayvon Walker and what a breakout season would look like for him, John. I went back and looked on PFF, and I'm not sure how great their numbers are in the QB hits, in a given game. But his whole rookie year, he never had a game where he was credited with 2 in a game. Last season, he had 6 games where he had 2 quarterback hits in a game. He's never had more than that. Statistically in a game. It does feel like he is a good enough player that should change very soon for Trayvon Walker. Like, he had a bunch of games last year where he was more active, as you said, especially late in the season, had a couple of quarterback hits that he was credited with the last 2 weeks of the year against Carolina and Tennessee, so it did feel like he was more involved in what they were doing on defense. He is a much more talented player than, even if he's not going to be a monster sack producer for you, it does feel like he should be in the backfield a little bit more than we've seen Trayvon Walker in the backfield through his first couple of seasons.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I also think his presence and his ability to draw double teams was clear last year if you watched it, and dominant against the run most of the season. So I'd like to see a little more in terms of pressure. I think what you'll see is Armstead, like you said, Allen, they're all going to get helped by the need to double somebody. Can't double them all. It's the old cliche.
Armstead actually got a vote for breakout. I mean, at this stage of his career, if he can have a breakout season, I mean, Calais did it, right?
True.
Come in here and ask to play a different role. Boy, you see all the hype when he signed with Miami yesterday. They're like going nuts. Like, you really, Calais, we'd love to have him here, right? Because he's Calais Campbell. Right. But, like, I've rarely seen this much hype for a guy who signed in mid-June. You know what I mean? Who's been sitting out there forever and ever and ever, and it's like, wow, we're gonna unleash Calais. Hey, look,
what a career though, man. What a career.
Phenomenal guy, phenomenal
player. A lot
player.
of that's he's a Miami guy. They love having their guy.
Oh, sure.
There. Yeah.
You know what? Take week 1 off. Quickly before we wrap up. Big deal for Allen, big deal for Trevor. Do you think we'll see another big deal, an extension, Tyson Campbell, a Cisco, somebody before?
Yeah, I think it would be Campbell if it's going to happen. I'd be surprised if they do Cisco this year, not this calendar year.
But all right, put at a scale 1 to 100. What are the percentage odds that Campbell gets a new deal before the start of the season?
For the season, maybe a little over 50.
A little over 50.
A little under 50, somewhere in
or
there.
about a coin flip.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say coin flip. Cisco, I think they would love to re-sign him at some point. I don't think it's going to happen this offseason.
All right, Pockets, won't you wrap it up for us?
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
All right, running it down today, a lot of breakout candidates on defense for this football team, and we need some of them to fulfill that. We need them to take their game to a new level. It can't just be, hey, we got a new scheme, new coordinator, same old Jags. A lot of expectations for this football team this year. Heard some commentary from Andre Cisco as well as Fred Taylor on what a contract for Trevor Lawrence or any star player, and I use the air quotes to some degree, in your locker room when they get that. If the guy is seen as a hard worker, as a grinder, who's going to put in the work and has that talent, I think guys celebrate it. You know, it's not, we talked about, Tony, it's not the Blake Bortles situation where people are going, where's mine, where's mine? They know that they're not first in line ahead of Allen.
The order has been right
and
so
Trevor.
far.
And no question about it. So a lot of that talk today as we continue through let's hope that we get no news on the Jaguar front for the next 4 to 5 weeks as we head into training camp. John, what are you working on over at Jaguars.com?
Working on not working, Mike.
I love it.
Trevor Lawrence tomorrow, 10:15. He's supposed to speak. I'll be writing off that and talking about that as well.
All right. Still doing the daily mailbag.
Oh, yeah. Daily mailbag is always. No podcasts or other on-air stuff probably until training camp. Take a little time off of that.
All right, right back to the fishing boat for John. That'll do it for us today. For John Oehser, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. Stick around as we've got the ladies of helmets and heels coming your way. Florida 7, Kentucky 1 now in the bottom of the second inning right now. Pocket's very pleased with his alma mater at the moment. All right, that'll do it for us. That game continues on the AM side, and if Florida wins, you'll hear them against Texas A&M tonight here on 1010XL. We'll be back tomorrow from 10 to noon with more Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's a weight loss.